Hi everyone, I'm Joe. Today I'm going to be talking about the fact that in less than 48 hours after this video goes live, I will be in Dublin, Ireland, because I will be attending the 2019 WorldCon. Now, the WorldCon, which I attended last year in San Jose, California, in America, which was great by the way, and I expect nothing less from this WorldCon, is a big book convention specifically focused on science fiction, although there is a certain amount of fantasy as well. And it is the venue where the Hugo ceremony and therefore the Hugo Award winners are announced each year. The Hugo Awards are the oldest running science fiction awards on the planet as far as I'm aware, unless I'm very much mistaken. And the event changes location from year to year. As I said, last year it's San Jose, this year Dublin, Ireland, next year in 2020 it is in New Zealand, the year after it will be somewhere else, and so on every single year. There are some places that it's been to several times, it's very rarely on the same general area of the world, 2 years running. It generally switches quite distance, but it does vary though depending on which countries and which cities happen to fancy hosting the WorldCon that particular year. Anyway, the WorldCon is comprised of many different aspects. It obviously has lots of different panels held by authors, editors and fans and scientists and so on, talking about every single thing related to literature in various ways, as well as talking about various sort of general geeky type things as well. So movies are mentioned, music is brought into it, and there are many different subjects. It's not purely books, it's a lot more varied than that actually, which does create some really nice variety and basically it makes for an environment where it really is something for everyone there, which I know I like, and I know many other people tend to appreciate about the WorldCon as well. The other types of events at the WorldCon are things like author signings, author readings of upcoming books, and also is well known for the Masquerade Ball. I will not be actually dancing at the Masquerade Ball because that would just involve me falling over, but I will be going there to observe because I didn't do that last year and I regretted it frankly a little bit. I wish I'd gone and had a look at what people were doing, but this year I am going to try and go if I can manage it. So overall it should be a really interesting week filled with books, authors and most importantly booktubers. Now I met up with a small group of booktubers last year and indeed shared accommodation with one in particular, and it was just a really great week because we went around together in a small group and it's just a really nice week for that reason. They made the WorldCon for me last year more so than really the actual panels and things that comprise the WorldCon itself. It was the people, the booktubers that made it for me, and I have no doubt it will be the same this year. You know, the booktubers and also certain other people that I met there, they will make this WorldCon for me. You know, Dublin will be good because of the people. The WorldCon is extra on top of it, only like a bonus. As far as I see, it's the people. It always is the people that make these things. And frankly, I'm now gonna spend the remainder of this video trying to very briefly talk about some of the people that I will be meeting and spending my time with during this next upcoming week. I'm going to try and keep it brief because there's quite a few people I'm going to talk about. So the first two people are two that I'm going to be sharing accommodation with whilst I'm in Dublin for the week, and those are Paul from A Common Touch of Fantasy. I shared accommodation with him last year, in fact, in America. He's a really nice, easygoing guy. He's really friendly, and I had some really interesting conversations with him and hung out with him almost non-stop for a week. So obviously I feel perfectly at ease in his company. The other person is Thomas from SFF180. Now Thomas and his channel is well known within BookTube because he's thought of essentially as, you know, the big knowledgeable science fiction and fantasy guy. Essentially, you know, he reads an awful lot of science fiction in particular. He knows a lot of old science fiction and he reads an awful lot of modern science fiction as well, and he mixes it in new and interesting ways. He always manages to keep things interesting and quite fresh on his channel. The next person I'm going to talk about is Rachel, known as Canadian on Booktube. Now, you'll have heard me mention Rachel's name once or twice a month for like the last 4 years, probably. The reason that I keep mentioning Rachel on such a regular basis is essentially because she's amazing. You know, put it simply. Rachel has made me read more books than any other person on Booktube. I mean, I've actively bought more books and read them because of her. Because her enthusiasm and the way she talks about books just gets me really interested in them myself. I think that applies to many other people as well. And I just like spending time with her. And although the point of me spending time with Rachel at the WorldCon, especially around the dealers hall, is that she tends to sort of inspire me and make me want to buy lots of books. I don't really want to buy too many. I'm still trying to be decent with my money. So it's kind of, she's a brilliant person to spend time with, but also bad in a sarcastic way, obviously. Next up, I'm going to mention Brie from Brie Reads Books. I met Brie last year, and my memory of Brie from last year is quite an amusing one, because I couldn't help thinking the whole time that she was like the sort of motherly figure of the group. I mean, she doesn't have children or anything, she just has that role in our group last year, where she's making sure everybody had something to eat, she's making sure everybody had a bottle of water with them, for instance, when we went and did stuff, and also the way she sort of made sure everybody was okay with where they were going. You know, everybody knew where they were going, everybody knew where the hotels were and such. She was a reassuring figure, frankly, last year, and she's just a genuinely nice person. I'm looking forward to meeting again this time. Then we have Kelsey from the Fancy Hat Lady Reads. Now, Kelsey last year is probably the nicest, most cheerful and most optimistic person I have ever met in my entire life. I'm not exaggerating here. Now, the one thing I think is amazing about Kelsey, and there are many things amazing about Kelsey, is the fact that she's the only person I've ever felt in my life that shares the same level of optimism and the same type of optimism at looking at the world and people that I do. There's been people that are close before, but not quite like Kelsey. Kelsey looks at things in the same way I do, I think. So I thought that was quite amazing, frankly, and she's just a genuinely nice, easygoing person. So I'm looking forward to seeing her again. Next we have Andrea from Infinite Text. Andrea is Canadian. She likes libraries and she likes squirrels, and she does indeed follow the stereotype of being a Canadian, where she is an extremely nice, friendly person. You know, it just so happens to be. Now, Andrea's channel is always one that I really enjoy watching, and I'm really looking forward to meeting her in person. She only started her channel about a month before the WorldCon last year, although I have known her for considerably longer than that. Actually, I think at this point about 2.5 years. So it'd be nice to finally say hello to her. Next up is somebody that I have met once before, albeit very briefly for a matter of minutes, and that is Elizabeth from Books and Pieces. Elizabeth is extremely enthusiastic about science fiction. If you watch her channel, which obviously, same as everybody in this I'm going to mention, I would greatly recommend you checking her channel out because it is great. Her enthusiasm for videos comes across really blatantly. She often wears, although not often enough for my liking, costumes and things in videos where she wears appropriate things and sometimes really strange things in videos, which is always amusing and great to see. And the conversation that I briefly had with her was also really interesting. It'd be good to see. Then we have Raya from The Book Finch. Raya is a Finnish booktuber. Now, I've had quite a few Finnish friends in the past, and Raya does actually conform to a certain image I have from those former friends of mine, where she is both highly intelligent, quite geeky in her interests, and also has a really good sense of humour, which is also quite subtle at times as well, and she really follows that closely and just appears to be a really nice, fun person to be around. The next person I'm going to talk about immediately is Maya from Maya Reads, and Maya is also Finnish. So she makes up the sort of Finnish duo, I suppose, of our group, and Maya also follows that image that I have as well of being, she's a very sort of intelligent and very intense person, but she has a brilliant sense of humour, which is quite subtle, and it does come across really well in her videos, and her enthusiasm for books, of course, is blatantly there to everyone to see. Then we have Caitlin from Kitty G. Caitlin I've actually met 4 times before, I think, so this may be the 5th time that I've met her now. And Caitlin is an English booktuber. She actually lives about 200 miles away from me, down south in England, and she is a very easygoing, quite a bubbly personality type, and I've met her several times now, and every time I've had absolutely no issues with talking to her. We've just talked through, we've known each other for much longer, and she's a really easy person to get along with, and I am looking forward to talking to her again. Next up is Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing. I don't know Aoife as well as some of the other people that I've talked about in this video. One of the reasons is I think it's purely because our sort of circle of bookish tastes do not overlap very heavily at all, really, but that's only a very minor thing. She always appears a really nice person in her videos. She's actually from Dublin, Ireland, so for her this WorldCon, which is generally very international, will be a very local thing as well. So seeing what she makes of it from a local point of view should be really interesting, and I am looking forward to finally seeing her. Next up we have Shannon and her husband Thush. Shannon's channel is That's So Pope. I have only known her, frankly, for most of this year, 2019, although I know of her a little bit last year as well, but I didn't actually follow her channel until this year, which was a shame because actually she's very quickly become somebody that I talk to on a very regular basis on BookTube. She always does her videos in a really interesting and thoughtful manner, and she also does videos with her husband, so I'm really looking forward to meeting the two of them and seeing, you know, what they're like in person, because they always appear just a really fun pair in videos. And finally, the last 2 people I'm going to mention in this video are another BookTube couple, and that is John and Bex from Night Hunter Books. I met them both in San Jose at the WorldCon last year. It will be nice to meet them again this year. They've been somewhat inactive lately because they are in the process of moving house. Obviously that is always a stressful process, but I know they will be at the WorldCon somewhere, and it will be nice to see them again because they always get on really well in their videos, and their sort of back and forth in videos is just really nice to see, and I think it's really enjoyable for that reason, if nothing else, although there are many other reasons for liking their videos. And with that said, that is it for all the booktubers, and I suppose all the little mini shout outs that I've just done. Although frankly this video may end up much longer because they were not as short as I had hoped they were going to be, I don't think. Anyway, if you're going to be in Dublin, Ireland for the WorldCon this coming week, then please let me know. You know, if you want to sort of say hello in person and meet up, then, you know, let me know. I mean, the easiest way though to try and find where I'm going to be at any one particular day is through Twitter. However, I will be saying roughly what I'm doing each day on Twitter, you know, like general plans and things as such, and I'll be probably taking pictures throughout the week and so on. So if you want to know what I'm doing and want to actually see me, check my Twitter because I will be active on there. There will still be a video next week that I'm going to pre-film in a second, in fact, and then once I get back from the WorldCon, there will be a WorldCon wrap up just like I did last year, and it proved to be very interesting as well. So with that said, that is it for this video. All the links to the people that I mentioned, which there are a lot of, so it's going to be quite a long list, can be found in the description box below, along with all my social media links. And that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.